when joy gives you something, it gives you a vitality. It's words like strength, it's words like solidarity. And for too long in the workplace, we've been fed on the crumbs of happiness more frequently than a diet of joy. Have you ever wondered what the difference between joy and happiness is? And a lot of times people use those two words interchangeably. But I have to say it's a massive difference between the two. So I look at joy and I look at happiness, and we can say they're both umbrellas. The difference is this, that happiness is a small umbrella. It's the sort of umbrella you'd find somebody putting in their either their rucksack or their handbag, and it covers, but only just. It's just like it's here, it's a one person covering that protects you. Joy, on the other hand, is what I think of when I imagine a golf umbrella, where there's two or three people who shelter underneath it. And it's usually something that's more windproof, it's more durable, it's more sustaining. In fact, maybe joy is more than the golf umbrella. Maybe joy is like the parasol that you have on your patio. You know, the kind that allows you to carry on partying no matter how much it's raining outside. That it's more than the one, two or three. It's the whole group of you sheltering underneath it. So joy and happiness, well, joy brings meaning to the meaningless. Joy is spirit, happiness is mind. Joy has that sense of permanence to it. It's there, it's longer lasting. It's not reflected in the temporal nature, the time-limited piece of happiness. And so when joy gives you something, it gives you a vitality. It's words like strength, it's words like solidarity. And for too long in the workplace, we've been fed on the crumbs of happiness more frequently than a diet of joy. In the home, sometimes you talk to our kids and we say, hey, it's all about happiness. I want you to be happy. No, I don't want you to be happy. I want you to be joy-filled. So happiness is a bit like the sugar rush. It's the dopamine. It's the hit that we get from a sense of achievement. It's great that it lends impetus to effort, but its effort is short-lived. Joy, on the other hand, is a bit like a complex car. It's something which goes further, it's something that lasts longer, and while it gives you that bit of a rush, that vitality, but it's more slow release, it's more slow burning, and all of these things are really important. So a lot of people say happiness can be found, but joy has to be mindful. Joy happens when you accept a challenge of working for it, in some ways choosing a path that the circumstances are such that you would have never chosen for yourself. But in the middle of it, you find, you build on, you create that sense of joy. Can joy be intergenerational? Can joy be transcultural and perhaps even eternal? These are massive questions, because here we're talking about joy as something that's deeply spiritual. When I think of C.S. Lewis wrote a book called Surprised by Joy. He was actually talking about the wife that he found, who came into his life, but he started to write about a really painful time in his life where the person that brought him a great sense of fulfillment was the person who also brought him a great sense of pain, because his wife was called Joy, and in the short time that they had together, she and he endured a journey which eventually took her life, a journey of cancer. But in the midst of it, you'd say, you know what, I've realized now what joy in a person means in reality, and joy as a concept is much bigger. Joy is something that you see when I think of Desmond Tutu, for example. And Desmond Tutu is one who in his life worked through the Truth and Reconciliation in South Africa. And there'd be times when he would be listening to great horrific stories, and then you'd see him outside dancing with the people and smiling despite all that he'd experienced. The Dalai Lama is another example of someone who talks about joy, who shows and demonstrates what joy is. Because for all that Tibet has gone through, the man has an aura about him that is deeper, that is increasing in stillness as the more time you spend in his presence, that speaks of a well of joy that just overflows. So we all need that balance. We need the balance of joy in our lives and the balance of peace. So somebody would say to me once, you know, what's the difference between joy and mindfulness? And the difference is this, that over the last decade or so, we've used the tool of mindfulness in a way of accessing peace. We've used the tool of mindfulness so that you can see your thoughts, you can hold them, you can look at them from different angles and find a sense of calm in it. That sense of calm is really important for reducing our stress levels. That sense of calm is important in dropping levels of anxiety and perhaps even levels of depression. Joy, on the other hand, is much, much more. Joy is a sense of, like watching children. If you look at kids and they're bouncing around and they're smiling and all that sort of energy that comes within, that to me is the essence of joy. Joy is something that propels you forward. Calm and peace is important for stillness. It's that strength of core. If you're someone who's into physical exercise and says you need to strengthen your core, we're talking about that bit that holds it all together, that's solid, but it doesn't move. Joy is the bit that moves you. It stimulates you. It encourages you. It encourages you to grow and to develop. It encourages you in terms of your passion. And so for a lot of the time, we need both joy and we need happiness. So in terms of work, happiness is production, but it's not sustainable. Happiness would hold us, and give us results. Joy, on the other hand, is about future production. Because with sustained joy, you have hope in the future, you have belief in the future. It is far deeper than happiness. For too many high-performing individuals, and we see them all over the place in the workplace, who are saying, yeah, you know what, I am so pumped up, I am ready to go. And they're fueled by happiness. They're fueled when they achieve something, and that sense of achievement gives you a lift, and they go, yeah. But sometimes high-performing individuals have a veneer, And that veneer of happiness is fueled by ambition, is fueled by desire for career, for fame, for fortune, whatever that may be, that takes you to one level of success. In order to get to deeper and deeper levels of true success, then you have to have a sense of joy. Because without that, the veneer starts to crack. Without that, the crumbs don't taste as they did before. We all need that sense of joy. We all have to say, yes, I am now searching for it, I am going for it, I'm feeling it, and it is possible. But it takes a far deeper level of commitment, a far deeper level of commitment to finding who you are in it, finding your true identity, finding a core of love, finding a core of peace, and then moving from it. So remember that there is a huge difference between happiness and joy. And in so doing, I pray that you will find all the happiness and the joy that is out there for you. Do like, share, and comment. As Maggie will tell you, we reply to every single comment made.